video cassette and select DVD. They'll leave you screaming for more.
Hey, ghoul friends.
Hey. This is so fucking stupid.
Today we mourn.
I'm wearing glasses because I've been crying and I don't want anyone to see me like this. And for some reason we just started having video. So
yeah, it's a unfortunate series of events. And I gotta say, I've never seen you in sunglasses in my entire life. This is a very in our 4 years of friendship, I think this is the first time I've ever seen you in sunglasses. And what an occasion to have them on. Indoors, mourning the end of an era. Okay.
I don't wear sunglasses because I wear real glasses and I'm not getting transition lenses because that is like
transition lenses are hot and they're in. Transition lashing.
I have to take these off. I can't do this. I actually can't do this. You slay. You go ahead.
You, on the other hand.
You slay. I actually couldn't see also. So hey,
No,
ghoul friends.
Yeah. Hey, ghoul friends.
We're here. We
Messy
are talking
intro.
Very. Of course. I'm not used to not being on the couch with you.
Yeah, honestly, we're recording this on Zoom because there's a COVID scare in my personal life. And we are playing it safe and we are manifesting health and prosperity.
And Starbucks cups. Okay, well, we started with the drama. Yeah, we're talking about Halloween Ends. It has ended. I have been crying for days.
And we are excited to talk about this movie because everyone honestly has like very differing. This is like one of the most truly divisive movies I've had the pleasure of being online for, and everyone has like different opinions from like loving it to hating it to like, you know, there's just so many layers to the discourse. And so I'm excited to kind of talk about our immediate reactions, get into sort of like how we've been processing the movie, because I actually went in and I changed my Letterboxd rating for it.
Really?
Kind of a gag. I like never do that. Yes.
Wow.
I just was like, I don't know. I just had to change it. But was it for the better or was it for the worse?
I guess we'll find.
Uncover all of this and more with us on Fear Queers. I'm Chase, and this is Beyza.
And I'm not here. Yeah, everyone's a little traumatized. I think. Well, okay, should we open at least with like our, because we had a very interesting viewing experience of this movie. Very
interesting pregame, some would say.
Yeah, pregame's right. We almost didn't go.
It was definitely a game. It was definitely a game. It was a mental game.
Yeah, we were playing games with God because we almost didn't go.
We had tickets to a 10:40 p.m. showing, and throughout the day, we had been like, we really were avoiding anything spoilery, but we had just heard from existing on the internet and living in the age that we do, how many people were like not liking it. And like it wasn't getting great treatment in its first, like, you know, screeners era, like people with early access or people that watched it the second it was on Peacock and things like that. And so we just started getting like this sinking feeling of like, wow, is this movie going to be awful?
First of all, I was ready. I would just like to say I was gaslit by 3 of the closest people in my life to not want to go.
You lie.
I do not.
You lie and I die. Literally, this is what happened.
Bitch, I can sit.
We were sitting around reading these awful reviews, not reading them. I mean, they just kind of like, we just all knew that this movie might not be great. And we were like,
I was just trying to eat my sweet green salad. I was
so
just
cool. Yeah, on top of all that, you had to have a salad for dinner.
I was hungry.
Couldn't make our pregame. No, it's good. I had a salad for lunch. And my system, I think, was a little shook by that. My system's like, you don't normally.
This isn't
that.
Pizza?
Anyways, and it was like 10:40. We were waiting for a 10:40 showing, and it was only like 8. And we were like, we knew this movie wasn't getting great reviews, and it's colder outside, and like we were all just hanging out, and we were
You're
like,
like,
wouldn't it be?
ooh,
Yeah, we were like, wouldn't it be bad if we were like naughty and we just decided
so
to like watch it on
bad.
Peacock at the house and just kind of like, ooh, like
The
hang out at
cock
home
was
and
staring at us in the
the
eye.
Peacock.
Cock.
Yeah, no, it really was. And it was like we basically debated for 3 hours leading up to this film whether or
Up
not
to
we
like
should go
10
see it.
minutes before we were supposed
Oh,
to leave.
up into 10 minutes into our drive, I was like, oh, I can just turn around if
Oh,
we want to
we
go back
could
and watch it on the couch.
fully, yeah. Yeah, and
But
you guys can convince me to be like, oh, maybe we should just stay because I'm like, not that the theater was that far away. It was just in downtown, which sucks to get to,
yeah,
but
like parking and like a lot of one-way streets.
yeah, driving down the wrong way.
Questioning why there's not traffic lights facing us, and then we realized, oh, it's because we're on
Oh,
a one-way street and we're going the wrong way. We
yeah.
won't tell you who was driving the car, but I'm glad we went. I'm glad we went because we ultimately we really wanted to, despite like we were kind of like wanting to be bad and stay in, but we also wanted to like safeguard our feelings because if this movie was bad, we were gonna get really sad, and we didn't want to feel like that amplified by sitting sad and quiet in a movie theater when we could do that in the comfort of our own home. But ultimately, we decided that like, hey, it's very important to pay respect to this like franchise and to this trilogy and go into the theater and do the whole freaking thing. And you know what? I'm happy we did. The second we sat down, I think we all were, except the Dolby was horrifying.
I was so scared. Like it was too loud, I would
Yeah.
say.
No, literally someone just like stepped in a puddle in the movie and I screamed because it was so loud.
Yeah. It was really, I mean, I got used to it later on, but yeah, it was quite the
Yeah.
experience. I've never seen a Halloween in a Dolby theater. I've seen like 2018 and Kills in like not shitty theaters, but you know, not a Dolby. So I was a little shook. I was a little shooky. Yeah, I think I also was just I was forlorn. Like I was
Yeah.
very, I mean, I
You were
felt so
quiet.
bad. I was like a bitch was quiet like
Yeah,
for
you were
hours.
quiet.
I know.
Absolutely.
I felt really bad because I was like, I'm being such a buzzkill, but I
No,
genuinely
I was just like, you were processing and you were
I
just,
really, yeah,
yeah.
because like when we talked about it last week, about our predictions and stuff, I just was not excited. I felt very like weird and just not, I don't know, I felt like it wasn't real, it wasn't happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like I was like, oh, we're seeing it in a couple hours and it's like happening.
Yeah.
I think I just psyched myself out a lot too. And I feel I'm just, you know what? This whole experience taught me that I shouldn't always listen to what people are saying online, even if
Mhm.
it's like opinions that I normally from people who I like normally agree with and like, you know,
Yeah.
can understand.
Yes. Yes.
Because we had so much fucking fun and I fucking loved this movie.
It was a slay. It
It
was an
was
absolute
so
slay.
good.
Was it perfect? No. Am I like also just is my love for this movie amplified by the fact that it just didn't suck? Yes.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a good movie and I liked it and I can say that it's good. It's a decent good movie, but
Yeah.
I think I'm like it's an amazing movie just because of the fact that it didn't bomb. Like just because I didn't leave that theater with like a walloping disappointment like I did for Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
I kind of like am like it's amplifying my love for this one.
Yeah, totally. Also, obviously lots of spoilers ahead, but I think yeah, this can go so many ways this conversation because there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
But I think I just want to start out by saying I think the community's reaction to this movie is just like in terms of like the horror community, I'm just like fascinated by the movies that people either love or hate and there's like no middle ground at
Right.
all. I think
Right.
those are always so like even if I don't like the movie or love the movie, I just think that in itself is so interesting and it's usually like a franchise movie because they're just so big.
Yeah.
But I would love to do an episode of like discussing those movies and like seeing why we think that's the case because I also feel like you and I agree 95% of the time on like what
Yeah.
we like and don't like, which is
Yeah.
really kind of rare, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the last time we had very like strong differing
The
opinions
yeah.
on a movie.
Honestly, a movie I can't remember, but the last thing would be like What If. Like Marvel's What If is like one of my favorite things they've done, and you
That's a
don't
big one,
like What If.
actually.
It is a
That's a
big
big
one.
one.
That
That's
is
a
a big one.
really
That's
big
like the
one.
last time I remember something coming out where we just had very different experiences with it.
Very different. I mean, yeah, I can't even think of like. Well, anyway, I just think that would be an interesting thing to talk about because
Yes.
I don't know. It is like I feel like it's worse than Kills just because it's like the end
Oh, I
of this
agree.
era. It's like
I agree.
people are vicious no matter if they loved it or hated it. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I
Yeah.
understand people who didn't like it and I honestly feel bad for them because they just didn't get the movie they wanted.
Yeah.
Flashback to 2 weeks ago when we were almost crying about Hocus Pocus 2. Like I get it, girl. I get
Oh,
it.
I've seen some people's like takes online and like watching people like just talk about it so passionately, and I'm like, it's so fun. It's so close to Hocus Pocus 2 that
I
I'm
know.
like, I cannot throw one stone.
No.
My
No.
house has never been made of more glass. Like I am
No.
just sitting here like, "Oop, I can't say anything because I was like ready
No.
to fight over a
Bitch,
children's
I
movie.
have my sunglasses. I'm like I can't. I actually can't.
I do not wish to be perceived.
No, I get it. Like what I will say I hate when people do this is
Tell me.
whether you love or hate a movie and you say that the opposing view is wrong for
Oh
their
yeah, that's
opinion. It's like,
embarrassing. That's so
girl,
embarrassing.
please log off. Please get a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because
maybe some pet grass.
yes,
Like a little patch of grass in the house so you can just always have it ready to touch.
or a pet rock. You could get a pet rock.
Pet rock. Yeah. I have to say, along those notes, I just want to say at the top of all this, if you love this movie, sweet, we did
Slay.
too. If you hated it, respect.
Slay.
Like none of it matters. Like we're all just here having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna get into, I'm sure, things that we loved about this movie and also things that could have worked better about this movie. So as always, these are just our opinions, and you all have yours, and I love that.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I know this is also coming from someone who was very nervous and pessimistic, as I just said, like,
Right.
and just all around very worried about this movie. And I like absolutely loved it. And I think it's my favorite of the new trilogy.
Me too.
And like a top 5 Halloween.
Me too. And it has the most rewatchability out of the new trilogy for me.
Yeah, that in 2018 is like by far I could rewatch 2018 like whenever, honestly. I don't know if I'll ever really get sick of it. And there's lots of reasons. And I think we should also there's lots to criticize too. So we will like you said, we'll definitely talk about that. But I'll just say right off the bat, I will always rather want to watch a finale in a trilogy or like a movie in general just get very weird and unexpected than watch 3 of the same exact movie over and over again.
Right.
And I think this did that really fucking well. For me. I mean, everything from like the tone to the like intense character work that this movie did that we did not get a lot of in the last installment, and like dialogue and cinematography, like they really, I think they went all out. You could see the budget, and they were able to like balance a lot of characteristics and charm from the original Halloween movie. Like those flashbacks like were very like, it wasn't as intense as it was in Kills. Those flashbacks, those were my favorite parts in Kills, were the flashbacks. But these were more like flashes of the flashbacks in these very important moments. And they give me chills every time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this movie did a really good job of sort of like incorporating a lot of vibes from 78 and like really kind of having that energy, especially like we talked a lot like about like the zoom ins and close-ups, and just sort of like camera work was so good and so much fun. And they were also able to like make a movie that felt like very reverent to that time, and also what horror is today. And horror today is so different. Exactly. And so I get when people are upset, I guess, about like it doesn't feel like a traditional slasher. It doesn't feel like a traditional Halloween movie, but like it feels like that, and it feels like that, but also like reinvented in a way that it has to be, because like the horror scene is so different in terms of like what to expect in just like modern day horror. So
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I didn't even really think about that. I just that being like how different horror is from it was in 1978. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and like even like thinking of that and thinking about everything that this original or not, yeah, this original movie, but also just trilogy sequel in general was able to accomplish is like really impressive.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
as much as I fucking hated Kills, I do think maybe in a year or two I'll rewatch it and like it more and more.
I agree. I kind of think I'll soften on that too, for sure. I mean, I think the third one will always be my favorite, but yeah, I will say I don't know if like everything was leading up into this movie. I mean, they rewrote this movie during the pandemic, right? They like
I think
rewrote it. And
yeah.
honestly, thank God they did, because
Yeah.
this was a very different direction from where it felt like we were going. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it was so exciting and so different and just it was a very subversive movie. I saw someone put online, it was like sort of like the Last Jedi for the Star Wars people out there. It's like kind of like the Last Jedi, where it's like the sequel trilogy movie that like is so weirdly subversive, but in a way where
I
like
think I actually saw that one in the
yes.
theater. I think I saw that one.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. And what was like one of your favorite parts about the movie, Beza? Like one of it, just like throw it out there. Any part of the movie, doesn't have to be
Uh
chronological. Like just one of your favorite aspects to this movie that you didn't expect when you were going in.
I love I think this is actually I don't know. I think a lot of people don't like this, which is fine, but I personally love a more like life goes on approach when it comes to slasher
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Especially for final girls like
Yeah.
Lori, um and like Sydney, you know, the list goes on. But those are my two girls. And it shows I think this I will like I could talk about this forever, but it shows that we can survive trauma and I get very and like thrive also at the same time. And it makes me very emotional because I love seeing Lori as an elderly woman being able to like
Yeah. Yeah.
regain autonomy over her body and like her mind and take back the last, you know, 40 plus years of her life, 45 I think at this point.
Yeah.
And like have those final years to just be and like to
Yep.
just exist. And I think that's my favorite part of this ending is that she got what she deserved and what like Jamie Lee Curtis deserves as an actor.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, that just makes me so like it makes me feel very hopeful and like it's a new approach to a slasher in terms of like this is an old woman and she lost almost everything and she's still
Hmm.
able to um you know, put her abuser through a meat grinder. Like what the fuck else
What
would
more
you
could you
want?
want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
And
What about
I
you?
love when well, speaking on that really quickly, I definitely was like so I was so curious because like throughout the movie, I was like, she just like feels like the Lori we were introduced to in so many ways, but I didn't
Yeah.
understand why. And for a while, I was like, maybe it's the costumes, like maybe it's just the way they're doing her hair and the costumes, because that also kind of looks like it's very much like calling back to like her
Her
silhouette in
straighter.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 78. And like, so I was like, she really feels like the Lori we were introduced to. And then it wasn't until later that I was like reading things online, and I think we both saw. I don't know if you retweeted it on the account or something, but like that one like young woman like ranting about like how they let her like be a kid again, and they let her like
Yeah.
regain that like innocence and like have like a little love thing with the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff for me really read during the movie, and that was like such a surprising and like welcomed thing, because it's like it speaks to like
She
where
gets to
she's at in her
relive her
healing
youth.
process. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it speaks to like reclaiming like any sort of damage that you might take on in your life, specifically like, you know, when you're younger and when you're like, you know, childhood trauma. So I just really love the fact that she can
Trauma.
feel so healed in that way. So much trauma, so much trauma.
Yeah. I think that is why I feel very close to her and Sydney in particular because they both are women who have been able to grow and learn and change, but were very traumatized from a very young age. And I think that's just a relatable, I mean, obviously not exactly in my case,
Right.
but thank fucking God, please let's keep it that way. I think, yeah, that is just something that will always mean so much to me. And why those two characters will always mean so much to me. And I think just the fact that Laurie got this ending is, I don't know. It just, I know it's a fictional character, but it just feels like you can do that and I can do that and everyone can make that happen for themselves.
Yeah, it's very, very empowering. And I'm excited to start talking about Corey because there's a lot to be said about Corey and like his journey with his trauma. Would you say?
Yeah. My bi king.
My bi king. I love him. My little monster fucker.
My little monster fucker.
But I was going to say, one of the things that like totally took me by surprise in this movie that I'm so grateful for is like the Phantom of the Opera-ness of it all. And like we talked about this after we saw the movie together. Like I just was living for the fact that this man was like resigned to living basically like under the city. I mean, he was like, it was so Phantom of the Opera. And it was just this like man in a mask, just like in isolation, living under the opera house.
That must have been like on their minds when doing that. Right? There's no way there wasn't.
It is so Phantom of the Opera. And then you have like, and then you just have like a love story, and you could even say a love triangle if we're looking at Michael and Corey in a certain way, which I know not everyone loves.
But this is a queer lens.
But this is a queer lens, and it's what
Zach doesn't like it.
No, I think Zach's less of a
shipping,
ship of them.
Freak.
And then you mean Ian.
Shipping freak.
Anyways, I was just living for the Phantom of the Opera-ness of it all. And it was just like so camp and so fun. And like, and also, that's all I'll say about that before I get into 500 other things.
No, I love that you loved that because so many people hated that. Which, hey,
fresh thing to have in a Halloween movie, though. It's like so much fun. And then when you get to see him power up after like his first kill in a minute, like
it's great.
That was everything.
Awesome. It was beautiful. That
kink
whole
unlocked
scene
was watching Michael Myers regain power after stabbing someone
with his stinky dick and cock. You know it's stinky.
Sucking stinky dick and cock.
Ew.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway. I think I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I understand where you went.
Oh, fuck you. Shut up, you nasty. I was gonna say before I was rudely interrupted that I can understand why people are upset by that. I totally understand that they want to see some people's favorite character is Michael Myers, and they want to see him be like strong dick daddy, like killing left and right. He didn't have many kills in this movie. And I think that is something that, you kind of come to expect from a Halloween movie.
Right. Well, especially after kills, it's like
but then I'm like, girl, was that not enough?
It. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you already had the movie where he goes stabby stabby, and now it's more let's thinky.
Yeah, I mean, it is like, yeah, especially after he was ravaged at the end by all of the townspeople and somehow killed all of them. But it
was Halloween night, right? So like
there's
let's
some
just
power.
Call it the spirit of Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. We still have to watch that movie, by the way. The Spirit Halloween. We have to watch it.
Oh my God, I forgot that movie was even being made.
I've heard really bad things. But hey,
if I don't have COVID,
matter.
Let's get high and watch it this weekend.
Perfect. I can't wait. Yeah, I think I don't know. I get it. Like you go in expecting a certain thing, but
here's where I don't get it respectfully. Like where I don't get it is like Michael and Laurie work really well as like foils of each other. And like when you look at both of them as like sort of at the end of their lives, like obviously like Michael will take on a new shape and like will live on. But when you look at these two characters as like at the end of their own lives, Halloween Kills is almost like the climax. They're like last climax, right? And then this movie is sort of like coming down from that. They're both kind of like on their way out of this plane of existence. regardless of like, you know, which kind of like humanized Michael, I think, in a really, really nice way. And I think it just like what the Halloween movies do really well that like drives me crazy, but it's also, I think, secretly one of the reasons why I love them is they blend realism with like the supernatural. So it's like
Yeah.
is like, yeah, it's like he like when he like gets up after like getting his shit knocked out of him and like kills all these townspeople, it's like that doesn't really make sense. But then you're like, oh, he's kind of supernatural. But then he's like in like the sewer, Phantom of the Opera, like licking his wounds and like is like very weak and is clearly at like the end of his life. It's like that makes him very human. But I live for the fact that we kind of get both and we never understand fully. Like I know I said I wanted to get super supernatural, and it honestly kind of did. It kind of did, but I'm glad it doesn't go one way or the other. I'm kind of love that we're in that little gray area with Halloween.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know. That's what is so enticing about the franchise. Is that it has elements of like all of those different, like kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street and like Friday the 13th, and like Scream is kind of its own thing because there's not really supernatural stuff going on.
Right.
But I like that there's a lot to like choose from, and I think people maybe just generally don't like that. But I think we're just gay and we like it.
Perhaps you're
We
right.
like bad things. Bitch, I literally, y'all are telling me that a Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie will be bad, as if I don't. My favorite movie is not Jennifer's Body. Do you think I fucking care? Like, I actually, sorry, but like, if y'all care, peace and love, that is fine. But like, as gay people, we like bad movies. That's actually like our only personality trait. So I don't know what to say.
Gay people, we like bad movies.
It's true. And I mean, everyone under the sun is saying this, but I do think in 10 years, this movie will be appreciated much more than it is right now.
100%.
When there's a whole new sequel trilogy or whatever going on in the next 10 years, because you know there will be.
Right.
I guess not a sequel trilogy, but some other, you know, reincarnation of this franchise. We're gonna look back and be like, oh, this was really good for what it is and what it did.
Yeah, and I also think that people just weren't really expecting to like have to think as critically as this film asked you to, which is like is fair. Like if you really just kind of wanted to go in, and I mean, like one of the things I said is I really wanted to watch like Laura and Michael fight for 2.5 hours, and like they barely even cross paths. And I do think the build up to that could have been a lot better. We can get to that when we get to like what could be better. But overall, I think that people just weren't. Sorry, there's like literally. Okay, I got it.
You have fleas again.
What?
I said, do you have fleas again?
Yeah, I'm not
got it from Michael.
I just think people weren't expecting like to have to think the way the movie's asking you to, because I mean, honestly, I wasn't either. But like as soon as I started kind of like working during the movie and kind of like putting things together and thinking about certain themes and certain like layers to it, then I was like, I turned to Blake like after the first act of the movie, I turned to Blake and I'm like, this is like really good, right? I was like, I really like this. Like I expected to hate it, but like this is really smart. Like it's a smart movie.
And you know what? I think even like I think they did a really good job of like asking that of the audience because it's so quick. Like you get into it in the opening scene is fucking insane. It's like I was just like, my mind was fucking blown. I think I screamed. I'm pretty sure.
So intense. That was honestly one of the most intense things I've seen. Like it was just brutal because it was just so sad, but it was also like iconic. Sorry.
Well,
like it was just like a lot.
No, it was iconic. That kid had it coming. But I think that like I think you were expecting like Michael to creep into the door or like, you know, some shit that. And it is not that at all. I mean, but that's because
he's everywhere. He is omnipresent.
His essence.
He is, someone has a Michael Myers room spray and they've just been spraying Haddonfield and he's just everywhere.
It smells like pumpkin. Aww.
It smells like pumpkin. It smells like musty pumpkin.
Musty pumpkin.
Chiz.
Anyway, yeah, that's my whole thing about. Okay, can I say one more thing before we get into stuff maybe we don't love?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Not that I have much, but I think
no notes.
I'm 100% kidding. I'm 110 on Letterboxd. I think I when I will say that I think people who are trying to use the argument that Michael was barely in this movie, I think that's bullshit.
I
I
think they
mean,
missed.
physically he's
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
But like this is the most Halloween-y movie I've watched in a long time. Just in terms of like, as someone who grew up in the Midwest, babe, this is like, how did they transform? Where did they film? Atlanta? I don't know, Georgia. They made it. That was like where this is like how I grew up trick or treating. Like that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
You feel the tone of like the darkness that he brought onto Haddonfield for 45 fucking years. You see it all in the beginning when you see a woman hung from a fucking building. You see like I forget all of the other, kills that happened in that like little montage, but like you see, I don't know. I think that
there's like
is
a couple dead in their car or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think that's like where the thinking critically kind of comes in, is that maybe you weren't thinking you had to think critically about a Halloween movie, but like they took that approach rather than like what was happening in Kills, which was literally he was everywhere killing people. And this was like the aftermath of that, and like his essence in Haddonfield, because it's been there. It's been there the entire time.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was really cool the way that they're able to sort of like, and this it happened in a macro way with the town of Haddon. Like it with the town, it happened in a macro way, and then like a micro way with our characters and with Corey and even with Allison, where it's like it speaks to this idea of like when there's no control, like grasping for ways to like take control over something, like when things feel so out of control, but also sort of like this idea of like fear and paranoia and trauma just like breeding and creating such like so much tension that there's just like small ways that tension has to be released, and that way has to be that tension has to be broken. And so the town had to do that, and then we just happened to follow a couple characters that were also doing that specifically in their lives in their own ways, like with Corey. Like, so it was really cool because it really spoke to the world we live in terms of like pandemic and like being on lockdown and just like the world being topsy-turvy and turning turtles. What? But exactly. Not in the way where they did it in Kills, where it was just like weird
wearing a mask.
it was too much. It was but it was nice in that way. And then it also kind of spoke to like, I don't want to say toxic masculinity because like but like Babe, it spoke to like incel mentality, which like an incel mentality is a thing that we are that is
widely
currently
plaguing specifically the United States. It is. Go ahead.
Exactly. So I was just gonna say, like, I love all those layers to this movie make it so great to me. It makes it, I'm like, that's how you make a Halloween movie in 2022. What year is it? 22. And so I honestly almost wish this was like the first movie of the trilogy. Do you know what I mean? Because it just feels so appropriate. It feels so of the times. And it also still feels very 1978, like what we talked about. So yeah.
I think I've seen that that note of like, I wish this was the first movie a lot, and I agree with it, but I genuinely don't know how much I would like it if I hadn't had what came before it, if that makes sense.
That's fair. Good point.
I mean, and I obviously will never know, but I think I'm just trying to like take it what it is. Because I think a big thing that I do all the time is like, well, what if this happened, or what if they did this instead?
No,
I'm like, but they didn't. So it's like
100%.
But I agree.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, part of the reason why I want this to be the first one is because it was so bold. I just want more movies, and I just want more Jamie Lee Curtis. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think subconsciously, I'm like, oh, I wish this was the first one. It's like just because that guarantees 2 more movies with Jamie Lee Curtis, like another trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree with you.
No, I agree with you. I think I don't know. And I think a lot of people also have the criticism of like, she like kind of went balls to the wall in this movie and like lost a lot of what she was having going on in 2018 in Kills, even though she was barely in Kills. So I don't know. But I think I just like that she like you see her journey of being this hard fucking person. And then after hard.
Like you can't live in a world like that. It's not a good place to be.
And like isolated and like very just like against the world, and then to see her journey of like, because she's from 2018, when you think about it, from 1978 to 2018, it makes so much sense that she is that way. And then I like that we had to have that side of her be shown before we got to what we all know Laurie Strode to be, which is like this soft, quirky, like funny old lady. So I like that we had that in between of 2018 and Kills to like see that progression kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it
No,
up, but
I 100% agree with you, and I think it just speaks to her healing, and it's just an incredibly powerful portrayal to have her show up like that in this way in this movie.
yeah.
Since we've had some time, it's been
4
4 days. 4 days. I'm curious, like obviously we left the theater like not knowing it wasn't perfect, but like what over the past few days have you been thinking about where you're like, oh, they really that is like, you know, could have been better?
I would say, I think there's some fair criticism about this new character of Corey and like how centered he is in the story and how he like comes between these two strong female protagonists. I think that is like has space to be talked about. I think, I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I guess, but I think it's more about like we were talking about, this like idea of toxic masculinity invading our country and the world. But I think so, I don't know, I think that's something that I've been trying to think about, and like Allison's entire arc in this movie is a little interesting. It's not my favorite. She's never been my favorite though. So and like I do have to, you know, you have to take into account everything that she's lost, and she is in a way acting as Laurie was acting in 2018. Like she's just being a full bitch. Because she lost her parents and her boyfriend and all of her friends, and like Laurie did. So I think yeah, so I get the criticism about, but I guess I didn't even really not like that. I don't know. I think you know what I really didn't like? There was not a goddamn chase scene in this movie, which is a crime for a Halloween movie. I know. Like, unless I missed it, I don't remember.
There wasn't.
That is like, you could have
added
a chase.
It was like a 60-foot chase. It was across a couple piles of leaves.
I mean, there was like scene. No, and I think there was a lot they could have done in that what is it? It's not a parking lot, but it was like that garage with all the stupid fucking kids. With all the cars. No, the
rec yard.
Yeah,
shipyard.
Sure. Yeah, I know cars. Yeah, I know what that's called. Garage? I don't know.
No, it's the junkyard.
Junkyard. Thank you. It's junkyard sleigh. Junkyard sleigh. Junkyard sleigh.
Welcome to the junkyard sleigh. That was what it was. It was a junkyard sleigh.
It really was.
But I wish it slayed harder.
I do. Actually, I will say that. I wish there was a bit more, because those kids had it fucking coming. I would have loved. Especially one of them. Which one?
The main
guy.
One.
Yeah. I think
awful.
I know. I understand why they had to blur out the
blowtorch.
Thank you. But like I wish
blowtorch in a junkyard.
I wish they didn't.
I know.
I don't know. I just feel like I would have loved a chase scene, bitch.
Well, it would have like, I think it would have been cool to, if they took their more of their, I mean, honestly, praying for a director's cut. Because if they took the more of their time with the whole junkyard thing, it just would have been more fun and more exciting, and more, it probably given more of chase scene vibes, if not a literal chase scene. But on top of that, it would have like given Corey a little bit more of that Michael status. And I would have loved to see Corey like stalking his prey and like freaking them out, and then just following them. Like, I wish he kind of had a little bit of more of that Michael juice in him.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure you do.
I'm sure you do. AO3.com.
AO3 logging on. I agree. You know what? I think that is probably my biggest criticism, is that he went from being very clunky with his kills, like in that house with the fucked up doctor and the nurse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like very just like intense, clunky, to like very
professional.
Yeah. I think I wanted a bit more I wanted a little more like I wanted to see him like progress a bit
Oh,
more than
I
just
love
kind of
that.
go straight into being a
Yeah.
fucking demon.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. I agree. I agree. I also agree with totally with like the Allison stuff. It was a little like a lot of that stuff just could have been ironed out a little bit more. Like, is the only way I can think of it. Like the Allison and Corey stuff to me, it makes sense, but I do have to work a little bit to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I can sit here all day and tell you why I think it makes sense. But basically, I think that pacing and I think those like emotional beats that specifically Allison was going through could have been ironed out to make a little bit more sense. I also got to say the marketing, mama. This is okay. This is an issue. I feel the more like social media and like movies and TVs and like advertisement and marketing all kind of coalesce.
Blend.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, as they all blend, I'm like, Obi-Wan Kenobi had the same issue. Ooh, it drove me crazy because they really build it as like this is like the
big
biggest
battle.
like lightsaber battle ever, and like it really was not. It was an emotional battle, but it wasn't like a giant clashy lightsaber thing. But what happens is these people that work in the marketing department are like, what's marketable, and also we haven't seen the movie yet. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like people for Halloween are like, what's marketable? Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, Michael Myers as an iconic horror villain. Like, so it's like that's how they're marketing it, and like in reality, like no, I mean, no. And that was, so I wish the marketing was a little bit cleaner and honest, I guess. And I also wish,
girl, I will say, as someone who works in marketing, we are lying to you all the time. Like all the time. So never trust anything because it is never, ever.
I think I'm learning that. No, I really learned that this year. What I learned in 2022 is never trust marketing.
Never trust marketing.
But yeah, so, and I do just think in general, I think there could have been a little bit more of a lead up to Laurie and Michael. I just really wish that there was a little bit more of the lead up because it just kind of happened. But also, like the first two movies were a lead up. The past 40 years, the lead up, like whatever. Yeah.
Well, okay, yes, all of that. And also, I think I want to know where we all got it in our heads that Michael has a thing for Laurie. Like it is like he is hunting her because that's not the case. Like maybe if I'm saying in this trilogy, because obviously they're not related like they were supposed to be after Halloween 2. But I think because that is like where this trilogy and this sequel trilogy is like gets a lot of flack is because like we have all of this context from all of these fucking movies that technically don't exist, but people are still going to like bring certain themes from those movies into this. So that's like they were kind of handed a shitty, deal with that. A shitty shtick. So I don't know. That's why I'm kind of like, yes, he's like hunting her, but he's hunting everyone. You know what I mean?
He's hunting everyone, Hunty.
Hunty.
Yeah, no, he is. It's Michael. I'm hunting everyone,
Hunty.
Yes, no, I agree. And I think that honestly, of course, like when a film is taking as bold of a direction as this one is, it's going to upset everyone.
I just realized, what if Michael's first word was Hunty? That would be so slay. Or slay.
It's either slay or Hunty. Or it's slay the hunt down.
Slay the hunt down boots.
Mask, mama.
Mask. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
No, that's okay. I honestly don't know what I was saying. But one thing that My Bloody Judy said, that they talked about like the flashbacks. If we just had a little bit more of like, if they went back and filmed flashbacks, I just think Zach and Ian had the idea with that. If that was like so good to think about, like if like Jamie Lee and The Shape got together and like filmed some flashbacks just for the sake of having flashbacks, because like it definitely felt like I was watching like a trailer for the original Halloween in the middle of this Halloween movie.
Yeah,
just, like,
totally.
from that movie or like the new ones. But yes, okay. Can we talk about Corey?
Oh, for the rest of my life.
Okay, good. I had a realization about Corey.
Say it.
I love that he unalived himself because because like a lot of people I've been seeing like I've seen like at least 8 people I can name off the top of my head are like they like the idea of him like getting up and walking away and just sort of like being like this next evil, which I love that idea. not against it. But I was kind of thinking like, well, why didn't that happen? You know, and why did we get what we got? And I
Yeah.
kind of loved the idea of Corey unaliving himself, because I think he knew that Michael put like some of his essence in him. And I would go as far to say, in a similar way that Michael put some of his essence in Lori.
Mhm.
And I think Lori serves as a character that like had that evil essence put into her, but she fought against it and she overcame it. She
Mama.
chose the light side. Whilst Corey didn't choose the light side and then realized in his last moments, I don't have the strength to be able to choose the light side.
choose.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna like, it's almost a redemption-y moment. I hate to say, I'm not just apologizing for toxic white boys, which I'm known to do in fiction. I just
in
think that
fiction.
in fiction. I do think that like there's a little bit of redemption, and maybe he unalived himself because he realized the world is better off without him, because he won't be able to resist that evil that was put inside of him. And it also kind of like speaks to why Corey was able to take on Michael a little bit, because he had a little bit of Michael in him. Also shows why Lori was able to take on Michael, because she had a little bit of Michael in her.
I love that.
I'm glad.
Can I be honest and say I don't know
you
if
can
I
be
agree
honest.
with that.
That's
I
good. That's good.
I genuinely, just because we're agreeing with everything, so I should say that I don't agree with
Yeah,
something.
we should
but
probably get in a fight now, right?
The only reason I don't think that is because of the one line where he's like, if I can't have her, no one can. And I think that speaks volumes as to he knew he wasn't going to make it out alive and just wanted to push that wedge further between Lori and Allison. And
Oh,
it didn't work. Like, it
I
just
like
didn't
that.
fucking work, and he's a dumbass. That is my take on that.
I like that. And it speaks to the incel mentality. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Which
I
we
think,
love.
yeah, we love
Calling that out.
incels.
No, we
right.
love calling that out, to be perfectly clear. That's where I draw the line on apologizing for toxic white boys in fiction.
No. If you've been on 4chan, you're out. You're done. Yeah, I think that's also just like the scariest thing about Corey and Michael is that they're both just men in masks. So it doesn't really matter who is doing what to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of like where the horror of Halloween as a franchise kind of shines through, is that like it's just a fucked up man being capable of massacring people.
Yeah.
And that's like very true to real life. So it's makes it even scarier.
And
you know what I mean?
Also, yeah. And also like they're kind of like forged by the society and culture in which we live. You know what I mean? Which isn't to, make it easier on them, but is something to think about.
Yeah.
Which that movie did a good job of like provoking.
Yes. Especially with when we first see the first interaction on camera between Lori and Corey, where she's trying to help him at the gas station.
Yeah.
Kissing in a tree. What is that song? No, never mind.
What is
me and Corey.
Beyza. Sorry.
It's okay.
I was gonna start singing again.
No. I was just gonna say, like, you kind of see where that happens when we see Lori and Corey at the gas station, not kissing. And like she's trying to lend a hand, and it perfectly shows what you just said about Lori, that both of these people being outcasts in society. Oh, I have one thing that I did not like that I will say after this.
Okay.
Being outcast in society, and Lori taking the right way out and being, not an evil piece of shit murderer, and Corey succumbing to that. Because they're both these like outcasts who like people have these horrible opinions about. What I will say, actually, before I forget, I wish they leaned more into Lori being an outcast, and because we got like a little piece of that with the old woman who was with her daughter at the grocery store.
Oh my
and like
God, I hated that, but I loved it, but I hated that.
Yeah, that really broke my heart, and I kind of wish there was more.
Yeah, or
'Cause
even
I
just like more like dirty looks, and also
Yeah.
more of a social isolating on Allison, which is another
Yes.
reason why the Allison stuff was clunky. Like we needed that pariah vibe. We got it on Corey, we got it a
Yeah.
little bit on Jamie Lee, sorry, on Lori, and then we got it the least amount on Allison. But honestly,
Yeah.
all three of them should have been treated like pariahs, because it seems to me that Lori and Corey are on the extremes, and Allison is somewhere caught in the middle still, where she kind of just
Yeah. I
fluctuates
wish
because
we
she's
got like
figuring it out.
Yes, I wish we got like a little like I don't know, like I'm doing the thing where I'm like I wish we got this and we fucking didn't. But it would be cool if there was like um a scene of like a town hall and they're all like, how the fuck do we get Laurie Strode out of Haddonfield or
Yes.
something like that. Like something
Yes.
small that,
Yeah.
kind of illustrates that. But I do wish that was more included, I guess, in this ending movie.
Yeah.
Because I love that woman lived and like we had to like look. Obviously, it's not, none of this is Laurie's fucking fault, but like
Right.
I see why the town is like hunting metaphorically
Oh, they need a
this person.
scapegoat. They need,
Yeah,
somewhere to put their
which
anger.
is why Corey became what he became.
Mhm. And again, just to bring it back to Allison really quickly, kiss me, I'm Allison. I just wish, like when she was
Kiss
like,
me, I'm Allison.
when she was like, Corey, I get it. I was like, do you get it? I'm like, because we haven't seen how you would get it. Like, I can sit here and brainstorm how this has affected you. You know, I get that. And I've seen the other movies, but where is that in this current text? And that's why,
Yeah.
honestly, actors, I think all killed it. I think everyone's cast well, everyone acted well, but just some of the writing and some of the directing, and who knows, maybe in this director's cut, I'm just saying, I'm holding out high hopes for this director's cut that has
Yeah.
not been announced yet.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know, we could talk about this forever. I have some more like ending thoughts.
Yeah, ending
Um,
thoughts.
but
Love that.
yeah, I think I don't want to talk about this because it makes me so fucking sad. But that sequence of her setting up that she was like gonna unalive herself,
Oh, yeah.
is like one of the most emotional things I've seen in a movie or TV show in a long time.
It was pretty brutal.
I felt so I was like scared throughout the movie, but that was a moment where I was like, oh no, like I am fucking horrified.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, just her strength and like understanding and power over herself was very like electric and like inspiring, and she didn't let the evil win. And bitch,
Right.
I was in tears. I was quietly sobbing in my huge reclining seat, just like this, crying.
With the sounds of Dolby Cinema just washing away your
those
muffled.
people next to us just yelling for no reason.
I have to say, I was living for the one comment I heard from them where it was the mom kissed Corey on the lips, and the woman was just like, "What is she doing?"
Yeah, she was like, "What the fuck?
What is she doing?"
They were so annoying, but I was living. I honestly loved.
They were definitely annoying.
Yeah, but that was so funny. That mom,
listen, did the town create Corey, or did that mom literally create Corey? Because that mom was giving the mom, it was honestly just as bad as the mom in American Horror Story Coven with Evan Peters' mom.
Similar vibes.
Similar vibes where it's like just
Oedipus. What is it? Oedipal complex.
It's very like Oedipus complex. Parent.
Oh my god, Michael doing that. But anyway, I just want to say I just find it very empowering as someone who is very scared of death and getting old to see like an elderly woman not like taking that shit. And it's just rare to see, especially in horror. I feel like horror very much demonizes older people. Like, I mean, lots of movies that I won't name, but it's just it's fresh. It's like very cool to see her do that and like have this great legacy. I don't know.
She literally was like, "You really thought I was gonna do that? You dipshit. Of course I'm not gonna fucking do that. I've lived this entire fucking life. Why would I do that?"
Chills. Yeah, I just
so
like
good.
That was, I don't know, for that alone, for that whole story alone, I'm like, I fucking love this movie. Like that is so special to see. And yeah, I think, I don't know, the franchise has always been fucking weird and like taking moves and risks that not everyone likes, and especially with Halloween 3, which didn't have the best track record either, and now is a cult classic. So I think this will be a classic in 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah, and I think honestly, yeah, I think people just needed to, I think it just was like any penultimate feature film is just gonna make people feel very extreme feelings.
Yeah.
And I
absolutely.
I was just experiencing euphoria because I liked it. I was just happy I liked it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to like the movie, and I wanted to feel engaged the whole time, and I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many Kiki Mamas would you give this? Because mine changed.
What did you tell me first?
Mine was a 4 out of 4, 4 out of 5. And now it's a 3.5 out of 5. Respectfully. Like, I think I was like, oh my God, 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, is that 4 out of 5 stars? Because like technically there are like ways this movie just could have been
totally
better. And to me, there's just enough things where it lost half a star.
Yeah.
Don't tell Jamie. Please don't tell Jamie.
Literally, she's like knocking on my door. It's like really scary.
She's already here.
She's like peeks over my shoulder.
Ew, what if your door behind you just open and it's like,
oh my God, that's the closet. She's back in the closet.
And she's back. Well, she was in the pantry, right?
Right.
Right.
Now she's in my scary closet. That closet is very scary.
I've never, I can confirm that I've never looked in it, which would imply that it probably is.
You don't want to. I am doing this thing where I'm not giving half stars anymore because
ew, how do you manage that?
Because okay, here's the thing. I just feel like for me, half stars, I consider whenever I give a half star, I'm like not being honest with myself. You know what I mean?
Ooh, okay.
Like I don't know. I just am like, it's either a 3 or a 4.
It's the coward's way out.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Me saying that after you just said you gave it a 3.5. I genuinely,
I just find that really interesting, Beyza.
I'll
let you have the floor.
I got you this, and now I'm not giving it to you.
It's so cute. I love him. Oh my God, I love.
Isn't it so cute? It looks like you.
I love that. I should put on my helmet and match it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be kind of a cute little picture. Anyways. Sorry. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it.
You're a coward, and you're
you're a coward, and any letterbox user who's using half stars, you're fake.
No, genuinely, for me, I just found myself giving everything like a 3.5 star, and I'm like, bitch, fucking pick a 3 and a 4.
I love that.
I just have to.
Way to hold yourself to, your best self.
Doesn't exist. Haven't met it. I don't know. So I gave it a 4. Maybe, it would be fun if in a year from now we talked about this again and see
what we should do, but we'll revisit the whole trilogy in one episode.
Oh my God, that's gonna be a 5-hour episode.
Well, no, but I think it'd be interesting because like we've said, like I don't know, I just think it'd be interesting. We just revisit
a long episode.
The 2010s and 20s new Halloween trilogy. What is it? What's the director's name? What's his name?
Of this one, David Gordon Green.
Or the yeah.
Anyway, I think it would be. Saying? I think we could do that with like the timelines, like an episode per timeline. Because
that would be
so
fun.
Much.
That. Yes.
But anyway, I don't know. It might change. I think we're watching it again with Zach and Ian on Thursday,
October 20th.
Be there. You're not invited. Just kidding.
I can't wait just to like get high and watch that movie again.
Totally, because I was too scared to get high the first time, but now I know when people are gonna die, so it's okay.
It's okay.
I have one last question.
Yeah,
and then we can close out. Do you think the ending shot with like, I loved the ending shots of like just the still house, quiet, beautiful, and then just the mask on the coffee table. Yeah. I was living for that. Yeah. Do you think it like implied anything that that the mask was there?
I'm a big believer in it not implying anything. I think it was a hunter with their trophy. Hate to bring, killing animals into this, but that's what it was. It was the deer's head on a plaque. That is what that was. It is total reclamation, total freedom. And that is what I have to say about that. What about you?
No, I agree. I think especially like as a trauma survivor, I think
Mm.
she needs a little bit of a reminder. Obviously, the last 45 fucking years of her life were a reminder, but
Yeah.
I think I can relate to like keeping those kinds of things to like look at and kind of see how far I've come from something.
Yeah.
And like I like having little things like that as a reminder, even if it's hard to look at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It reminds you of what you've been through and how far you've come in a lot of ways. And I love that. I
Yeah.
am just thinking to myself that I kind of love the idea of this mask. Like the next time they reboot these movies, I want that mask to like wash up somewhere. I want it to
Sure.
be, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, or you know what I mean, like just like
In Lake Michigan.
no, I want the mask to end up in someone's hands that like is unrelated to the Strodes and
Mhm.
maybe not even in Haddonfield. Maybe Allison moves away and like takes her mom's stuff and then has a yard sale when Allison's super old and then forgets the mask. And just point is it's like
Yeah.
a new town, new place, new people, and someone
New
buys it
rules.
and then and no rules. And I love the idea of the mask like Green Goblining to someone and being like Green Goblin to like a random person in a different town unrelated to the shows, and it all
Oh
starts
my God.
over again. And we're back in the closet, bitch.
We're back in the closet. Oh, you said okay. Speaking of hot serial killers,
Green Goblin.
Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe.
William
Willem
Dafoe.
Dafoe as a fucking Michael Myers.
I love the
Let's
vision,
get it
and
going.
we wouldn't be able to see his face, but I love the vision.
New rules, no rules.
Oh, you're right. New city. Yeah,
We'll
I can
get
like, hear
started
the
writing
trailer
it.
voiceover already, where it's like
Yeah,
new city,
we're the
new
talking
family,
heads in our
no
Zoom.
rules. Yeah. Stay tuned.
I could talk for so much longer, but you have to go and I need a life. So I think that's the end of this
No,
episode.
you know
Any
what's gonna
other
happen? We're gonna
thoughts?
watch Halloween again with Zach and Ian, and then we'll probably all record one more episode together
I
about
know,
it. And
totally.
it's
That's
gonna call the episode like the collaborative
Fagoween
episode to
ends.
end ends. Yeah.
Fagoween ends.
Halloweenies.
Fagoweenings. Anything else?
No, I just love this movie and I can't wait to watch it again. And if you didn't love it, I'm sorry. I hope we maybe shed some new light on it that maybe makes you look at it in a different, more positive light. And if you loved it, slay. I'm happy for you.
And if none of those things and you're in the middle, what's your secret? How? Why? What do you think? Let us
How
know.
do you live in a more temperate place in
Yeah.
your life?
I cannot relate at all. Um But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Y'all let us know what you think in the comments down below. And
Please.
subscribe to our new YouTube channel where this episode will also be
Yes.
living and sliving and surfing and slaying. Fear Queers podcast. I don't know. Look up Fear Queers podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it'll be in the link in our bio. And comment and subscribe and like.
That whole time I was just trying to pull up our outro and I couldn't find
Okay,
it. So
it's okay.
I will just say an emphatic yes to what Beyza is saying right now.
I'll say it. I think I have it here. Yes. Thank you so much for listening to Fear Queers, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to keep up with us. I can't believe we still don't remember this. Be sure to keep up with us through our Instagram at LGBTQVHS and Twitter at FearQueersPod. You can also email us at fearqueers@gmail.com with any questions, comments, and movie, TV suggestions, or if you just want to. And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps this show and only takes a few little tiny moments to do.
You can do it in the time that Corey was locked in the closet or the attic.
Not long enough. He's by.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Next time. Gay
friends. I miss you, Lori.
I miss you, Beyza. I hope I get to see you this weekend.
We'll see if you behave.
Goodbye.
Bye.